First thing to say, what a fight. Kell Brook loses to Triple G by Ingle throwing in the towel at the end of halfway through the 5th round. For me, if I'm being honest, and I'm recording this seconds after the fight, but if I'm being honest, the stoppage seemed premature. I'm unaware whether Kell Brook has some sort of injury that maybe Ingle has seen in the corner, and if that's the case, then fair play. And the fight was becoming a bit one-sided, but 5 rounds in, after the first 4 rounds, I either had it 2 rounds each or 3 rounds to 1 in favour of Kell Brook. I thought early on, Kell Brook was actually doing a very, very good job of moving out of Triple G's range, avoiding some of his big punches, using his reactions to stay elusive and countering him. Triple G actually, for me, looked slightly reckless and slightly raw in one of the early rounds. I was a bit surprised. Kell looked on point. The fight, for me, it brings back memories of Canelo versus Khan, where the smaller man, in this case Brook, was able to score early rounds by being the more technically astute boxer. Fundamentally, I think the signs were there from the 3rd round that Kell Brook was actually becoming very, very tired. Kell Brook's bulked up massively for the fight. He looked like a huge guy in there. He actually looked a lot bigger than Golovkin. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Kell Brook was in the 170s for this fight tonight. And all of that weight, all of that muscle mass, those massive biceps, they may be nice to look at in the mirror, but fundamentally they're not actually doing anything for you in the ring. And, he looked tired. He looked tired to me, Kell, from the 3rd round on. And one of the things that was really noticeable was the footwork. Golovkin was not moving extensively around the ring. He was just, we know how good he is at cutting the ring. He was making very small adjustments. And Kell Brook, with his new massive frame and physique, was having to wheel around the ring. And basically, I felt like Kell Brook was, all of this artificial weight was having to do a lot of movement, a lot of back foot dancing. And Golovkin was just cutting down the ring and starting to land the heavier punches and the more telling blows. And unfortunately, that started to take its toll on Kell Brook. And even though I had Kell Brook very live in the fight, and even though he was doing well, for me, the writing really was on the wall, certainly in the 4th round. And into the 5th, Golovkin was starting to become increasingly dominant. Now, as I say, at the time of the stoppage, I thought it was a little bit weak, I've got to say. I thought Kell Brook had more to give. He didn't seem to be on the verge of getting knocked out, but Golovkin was pushing him back against the ropes and into the corner. Golovkin was hurting him. Golovkin was landing the harder, more noteworthy work. And maybe Ingle did the right thing, especially if there's some injury he's seen in the corner. Regardless, I'll keep this brief, but what I will say, great fight, even though it only lasted 4 or 5 rounds. It was an absolute shootout. My pulse was racing throughout. Real entertaining fight. And credit goes to Kell Brook. Showed great heart. He showed great heart to even be in there in the first place, and he showed, good boxing skills and a good chin. Fundamentally, I don't believe the guy's a middleweight. Yes, he was a big guy in there, but he got to middleweight by putting on artificial muscle mass, whereas a guy like Golovkin gets to middleweight by having a middleweight's frame, and I think that's absolutely key. Golovkin, for me, again, a great fight. Some limitations on there tonight. Defensively, very open. Brook was landing with the uppercut. Brook was catching him with the jab. Golovkin was swinging and missing like a junk at times. Golovkin's a very, very, very good fighter, but the comparisons to Ray Robson, Ray Leonard, bit premature for my liking. I'm sure we're going to discuss this further, so I'll leave it there for now, but just an initial pre-fight take. Golovkin wins, 5th round stoppage. Many thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, hit the thumbs up. If you're new, please do subscribe. Cheers.